Imagine two people, same age, same city, same industry. They both start their careers on the same day at the same company. 10 years later, one of them is leading a team of 30 people, building something that matters, living a life that feels deliberate and full. The other is exhausted, reactive, wondering how 10 years passed without him getting anywhere he actually wanted to be. Same starting point, wildly different outcomes. What really happened? It was not intelligence, it was not luck, it was not who they knew or where they went to school. It was habit, specifically the daily habit, almost invisible ways in which each of them chose to think, decide, and act. Compounded over 10 years, those invisible choices creating two different, entirely different lives. In 1989, Stephen Covey published a book that attempted to identify exactly what separates the first person from the second. 30 years later, it had sold more than 40 million copies. Today, I want to walk you through all 7 habits, not as a book summary, but as a practical map so you can use it in your life. Let's get started. Habit number 1, be proactive. Picture a project manager named Arjun. He sits in a meeting room every Monday morning and leaves feeling frustrated. His manager micromanages, the process is inefficient, the team is under resourced. Every week he drives home and thinking, if only things were different, I could do something. Arjun is living inside what Covey calls the circle of concern, the things that bother him but he cannot directly change. He depends most of his mental energy there in complaint, worry, and feeling that his circumstances control his outcomes. Proactive people do something different. They shrink their circle of concern and expand their circle of influence. Instead of asking, why does this keep happening to me? They ask, what can I actually do about this right now in this very moment? One question generates resentment, which is why it keeps happening to me, and the other generates results. What can I do in this very moment and how I can act upon it in this very moment? Arjun cannot change his manager. Well, he can if he wants to, but he can document his work better, volunteer for the high visibility project, take more accountability and action, and build a track record that speaks without him needing to complain. That is the circle of influence, and every action taken there just expands it. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. Being proactive is not about being positive, it is about being responsible in the original sense. Response able, able to choose your response regardless of the stimulus. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. There is a thought experiment that Covey puts in front of every reader early in the book. He asks you to imagine your own funeral. Your family is there, your closest friends are there, your colleagues. One person from each group stands up to speak. What do you want them to say? Not what you think they will say. What do you want them to say? Because the gap between those two things, what they would say at your funeral today and what you actually want them to say, that gap is the work. A woman named Priya spent 15 years building a successful marketing career. By every external measure, she had arrived. Then at 42, she was asked to speak at a mentor's retirement party. She stood up to describe this woman's impact, and halfway through her speech, she stopped. She realized she could not imagine anyone saying the same things about her. She had been building a career, she had forgotten to build a life. Beginning with the end in mind means making a conscious choice about what you actually are building in life. Not just professionally, but as a parent, as a friend, as a person, as a human being. Covey suggests writing your own personal mission statement on a piece of paper, not goals, a mission. The principle by which you want to live and be remembered. If you do not define the destination, you will be very efficient in going nowhere in particular. Beginning with the end in mind is how you make sure the ladder you're climbing is leaning against the right wall. Isn't that powerful? Habit number 3, put first things first. Here is what most people's day actually look like. They arrive at their desk, open their inbox, and immediately begin responding. An hour later, they look up and realize they have been entirely reactive, dealing with other people's priorities disguised as urgency. Covey's third habit is built on a simple but devastating insight. Most people spend their lives confusing urgent with important. These are not the same thing. An urgent task demands your attention right now. An important task moves your life forward. The tragedy is that the urgent almost always crowds out the important tasks. He introduced a four quadrant matrix. Quadrant 1, urgent and important, crisis, deadlines, emergencies. You cannot avoid these. Quadrant 2, important but not urgent. Planning, relationship building, learning, health. This is where effective people live. Quadrant 3, urgent but not important. Most meetings, most emails, most interruptions sit there. Quadrant 4, not urgent and not important. Mindless scoring, passive distraction, all sit in this. The insight that changes everything is this. Quadrant 2 activities never feel urgent, which is why most people never get to them. Building your health, deepening your skills, strengthening important relationships, none of these have a deadline screaming at you. But they are the exact things that determine the quality of your life 10 years from now. That is what will matter. Put them first, before the inbox, before the urgent. First is what should come first. Habit number 4, think win win situations. Two sales managers, let's call them Rahul and Vikram, they both are pitching for the same internal budget. The organization can give it to either team. Rahul spends the week quietly undermining Vikram in meetings, small comments, selective information sharing. He believes that for him to win, and Vikram must lose. Vikram does something different. He calls Rahul and says, our teams have complementary strengths. What if we proposed a shared initiative? Combined budget, shared credit, better outcome for the company. Rahul's approach is win lose, the most common operating system in competitive environments. It treats every situation as a zero sum game. For me to gain, you must lose. The problem is that in that world where you work with the same people repeatedly, win lose poisons every future interaction. The person you beat today is the person who remembers tomorrow. Win win, on the other hand, is not naive. It is not about rolling over or giving away what you deserve. It is about believing that in most situations, a genuine creative solution exists where both parties can gain. And having the patience and generosity of thinking to find it defines you. Covey was clear: life is not a competition, it is collaboration. Our success is not independent of the people around us, it is deeply connected to it. The most sustainable, successful people are the ones who have learned to make other people's success part of their own strategy. Try doing it once, you will feel the power within yourself, and a happy, successful life will begin for you. Habit number 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Imagine a conversation between a father and his teenage daughter. She comes home upset about something that happened at school. Before she finishes her second sentence, her father starts offering solutions. Have you tried speaking to the teacher? Next time, just ignore them. It is not that serious. She stops talking, not because the advice was wrong, because she did not come for advice. She came to be heard, and she was not heard. She was processed. Most people do not listen to understand, they listen to reply while the other person is still speaking, and they are already formulating their response, their counter argument, their advice. This is not listening, this is waiting with your mouth closed. Covey's fifth habit asks you to reverse the instinct. Before you speak your perspective, exhaust your understanding of theirs. Ask another question. Reflect what Reflect back what you heard. Sit in their frame of reference long enough to actually understand it. Not to agree with it, just to understand it. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. The paradox of this habit is that the moment you genuinely make someone feel understood, truly heard, they become dramatically more open about hearing you. The fastest path to being understood is to understand first, every time. Habit number 6, synergy. In the 1960s, NASA was preparing to send humans to the moon. The engineers wanted to design a spacecraft that prioritized safety, redundant systems, conservative engineering, maximum reliability. The astronauts wanted agility, a lighter craft, faster response, built for the unexpected. These were genuinely opposing perspectives. A committee run process would have produced a compromise, a craft that was neither fully safe nor fully agile. What they actually produced through genuine collaboration was something neither group had originally imagined, because the creative tension between two strong, different perspectives generated a third option that was better than both the other options. Synergy is not compromise. Compromise is two people giving up on each other, giving up something to reach a midpoint. Synergy is two people creating something together that neither could have created alone. It requires genuine respect for the fact that the person across from you sees the world differently, and that difference is not a problem to manage, it is a resource to use. Covey puts it simply: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. But going together only produces synergy when the people going together are genuinely bringing their full different selves, not performing agreement for the sake of harmony. So, important lesson and a brilliant lesson in leadership as well. Habit number 7, sharpen the saw. Abraham Lincoln was once asked, if you had 6 hours to chop down a tree, how would you spend them? He said, I would spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. Most people spend their entire lives chopping with a blunt axe, working harder, longer, with more effort, and producing diminishing results because the instrument doing the work has never been maintained. The instrument is you, your body, your mind, your emotional health, your relationships. These are not side projects alongside your real work. They are the axe. If the axe is blunt, the work suffers every single time. Consider a surgeon who operates for 12 hours straight without a break, running on caffeine and willpower. And a surgeon who sleeps 8 hours, exercises each morning, has a strong support system, and takes real holidays. Both are talented. Over a career, the outcome are not the same. The second surgeon makes better decisions, sustains high performance, and avoids the burnout that ends the first surgeon's career a decade earlier. Sharpening the saw means deliberately, regularly investing in 4 dimensions of renewal. First, physical, sleep, movement, nutrition. Second, mental, reading, learning, reflection. Emotional, genuine relationships, authentic connections. And what Covey calls spiritual is clarity of purpose, alignment with your values, the sense that what you are doing really matters to you. None of these feel productive in the moment. All of them are most important investments you will ever make because they determine the quality of everything else you produce or achieve in life. Rest is not the reward for hard work, it is the condition for it. Remember the two people we started with? Same age, same city, same company on day one? Here is what separated them over 10 years. One of them reacted to the world as it arrived, the other responded to it deliberately, with intent. One built habits around urgency, the other built habits around importance. One listened to reply, the other listened to understand. One sharpened the axe, the other just kept chopping. 7 habits, none of them dramatic, none of them requiring a complete reinvention of your life. They are quiet, daily, almost invisible choices that you can start making right now. But they will compound over years with discipline. They become the difference between two entirely different lives. Covey said something toward the end of his life that is worth sitting with. We are not human beings on a spiritual journey. We are spiritual beings on a human journey. The 7 habits are not productivity systems, they are a way of being, a commitment to living deliberately, treating people well, and never stopping the investment in yourself. The question I want to leave you with is, which of these 7 is the one you're neglecting the most? Not the one that sounds immediately impressive, the one, if you are honest, you know you have been avoiding. You will understand that one aspect that you need to start changing. Start with that one habit this week, right now, as you see this video. That is enough. Subscribe to this channel if this gave you something valuable. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.